talk about, as you can see, different topics. Man of Steel. We're talking about Batman going down on Catwoman, and we're going to talk about the Blood of Zeus movie, TV series that's on Netflix. So those things we're going to talk about. It's nice to be here again. This is a different phone, as you can see. Operates a little bit differently. And so I'm going to try and go through this stream as quickly as possible with you guys. So let's start off with Man of Steel. Man of Steel is a beautiful story. As you know, it covers Greek mythology, covers Moses, and covers Jesus. I always wanted to ask Zack Snyder certain spiritual questions because, as you know, life is spiritual. And one of such topics in Man of Steel was the natural birth of Kal-El. Kal-El was the first natural birth in hundreds of years. And the ends to which his parents sacrificed for him to survive, I believe, is one of the great points of Man of Steel. And that significance was not really captured in quite that much detail in Superman 1978, or in any Superman film for that matter. Now, there was a longer version that Donner did of Superman 1978, where they went into a little bit more elaboration. But again, it was more about the controversy of Krypton surviving and then the end of Krypton. It was more of an event than it was about focus on Kal-El. In Man of Steel, the focus was on Kal-El and him being the future for Krypton. And so I thought that was very much more singular in focus. And the sacrifice that Kal-El's parents went through so that he would live, quite tremendous. In Man of Steel, unlike in Superman 1978 as well, Kal-El was never, by his parents, encouraged to use his superpowers. I always found that to be a distinguishing mark between that movie and 1978 Superman and all succeeding movies after that. Because, think about this. Because Kal-El grew up knowing how to contain his powers, how to focus, how to live a semi-normal life as a citizen, even though he did use them, but never really on the advice or the request of his parents, he was able to exist and socialize amongst us and regulate himself. So he knew what kind of force and what kind of focus was necessary for him to exist normally, or at least seem normal as a normal human being carrying out normal activities. And something for which I think was a valid point that Zack Snyder emphasizes. That is to say, Zack Snyder emphasized that his earthly parents tried to show him the way how to exist on Earth as a person who is human. So they taught him the human side of humanity to the T. Their expertise was not in powers. The expertise was not in that. And the advice they gave Clark, I thought it was very sound advice, which was, he noticed his mother panicked when he was about to use his powers in school, and she was able to rope him in, contain him, so he would exist as a normal child. I think that what the advice that they gave him was a very good one. First one was, you need to know where you come from and who you are. He said you owe it to yourself to find out who you are and where you come from. And that was what his father told him. And basically, why use your powers if you don't know what they could do and the significance of them? Now, Clark still used them. But the point is that his parents were very wary of that. Not only would it break his cover, not only does it change the whole paradigm of how things are, so he doesn't know who he is, he doesn't know what his purpose is, he doesn't know where he came from. That's dangerous. All right. You must have to have a sense of purpose. You need to know your identity. And so Clark was in search of that. And I thought Man of Steel did a great job of establishing that. Mind you, again, Clark was the first natural birth in hundreds of years. So those are two very tremendous things because it was like basically Joel and Laura, they set Clark on an adventure, on a path that they themselves had never charted. It was uncharted territory, at least for 100 years. So Clark was a very special individual in that respect. And he had all of the genetic material, the codex inside of him, meaning he could choose to do whatever he wanted to be and be whatever he wanted to be, good or bad. And what Clark's parents did, kind of like what Zack Snyder speaks about even to this day, is they didn't know what the future held for Clark. But what they did was they actively tried to shape his future in terms of giving him a good example and helping him to make good choices. I always thought that was excellent in Man of Steel. Man of Steel is just such a great movie, in my opinion. But I want to go back to Clark's natural birth and link it to Batman going down on Catwoman. And for lack of a better word, and of course Zach had put his input into it, but I want to speak a little bit more on this issue and this topic because Warner Brothers said heroes don't do things like that, and that is putting into account that what people perceive a hero or perceive a good person to be is never exactly what that person really is. And it's a certain degree of hypocrisy, I believe, to that. Now I want to talk about a very sensitive issue, and I don't mind putting it up there on social media because it's going to help somebody. And I also believe that this issue is a prevalent one in society today. And I'm going to be as transparent with you guys as possible. I'm probably going to get backlash for this from different people, but I don't care. I think that this is something worth us all speaking about, and I'm going to be very vulnerable with you guys, but I need to. Now, the way I'm going to talk about this topic, because I never really talked about it online. I don't think I really talked it in public, in a public arena, in a public forum like this, but I'm going to talk about it. Is something called sex. So they talk about the birds and bees, blah, 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 blah. But no, I'm talking about sex as recreational sex as well as for regeneration. I want to start from a spiritual perspective. But before I do that, I just want to say two things. One, I always wanted to speak with Zack Snyder concerning spiritual things. One of the spiritual things I wanted to actually ask him was how did his Christian Science upbringing lead him to always look at qualities and attributes, spiritual things in his movies because his movies are very spiritual. And I think William, what's his name? William, I forgot what his surname is. But William, he really admired, and some of you guys that watch my channel really admired the fact that I brought out the spiritual elements of what Zack Snyder was doing. Now I know Zack Snyder is more of a researcher and a very thorough person in what he's doing, but still, I love that Zack Snyder doesn't focus particularly on the icons. More he focuses on the value sets. Why this is important is because when we talk about hero worship, that's a very bad thing, in my opinion. And I think Zach is not really a hero worshiper. He's not really about looking at the image or the object, but he's more about looking at the values, the cores, the virtues. And this is why he believes these mythoses have lived so long. And I love his just almost practical, realistic take on how life really goes. I really love it. So, what I'm about to say, uh, don't take it to be that, um, you know, this is something that I'm trying to make people uncomfortable with, even though a lot of you guys are going to be uncomfortable with this topic. I'm still going to go with it. The first thing I want to talk about, so that you guys can understand where I'm coming from, and I'm going to come from a spiritual place. I'm sorry, this is just going to happen. Um, is I want to speak to you guys about the yin and yang, the male and female elements of life, particularly the motherly elements of life and the fatherly elements of life. Take, for example, I was outside today. I was planting a lot of stuff. I plant grass. I watered plants. I pruned plants today. I did a number of things outside or outdoors. And think about this now. The earth, trees, whatever they are, this spiritual principle goes on and on and on, whether it's in every aspect of life. So there's something called planting or seeding, and then there's something called reaping. Now let's show you how this works. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about that. When we talk about the male sperm as seed, I guess because the Bible is sort of male oriented. And when you think about it, they talk about seed and they talk about the seed being sown into a woman. Why is it being sown? Think about what I'm saying now. It's being sown because the sperm fertilizes the egg. So what? It's not just all the seed that's sown. Some seed will will grow and flourish. Now think about what I'm saying because what I'm about to say, I only realized that today. So the seed is sown, and because of that, you have a attachment of the fetus or zygote or whatever. And what does it do? What does it do? It attaches to the placenta of the mother. It attaches to the mother. It attaches to the walls of the uterus, right? And you have all these blood vessels that grow up and form. And it sucks the life out of the mother pretty much, right? But think about what I'm saying. Those things are rooted. It takes root in the belly of the mother, right? There's a special designed womb or uterus where the zygote attaches to the wall of the uterus and it forms what is called the placenta, a whole network of blood vessels that suck the daylights out of the mother, right? It's a network of blood vessels. And that's where all the nutrients come from. So if you take a placenta, for example, of a human, and you extract all the nutrients from it, you're going to get a lot of nutrients, okay? Nutrient rich. And this is what the baby, like a parasite, does and exists for 9 months. However, at the end of 9 months, the mother's body cast the baby aside. If the baby was to exist longer, it would die. And the body is designed to push the baby out, to expel it. Now, I want to show you, and that's, okay, we call that the reaping stage. All right, so there's sowing and there's reaping. You sow a seed and you reap the fruit of the seed. I want you to understand where I'm coming from because that principle is a spiritual principle that happens all the time. Okay? I'm going to apply that principle to planting, sowing, and reaping food. Okay? So when you put a plant or a seed or a seedling into the ground, you are doing the same thing as a man impregnating a woman. You're impregnating the earth. The earth has nutrients in it, which causes this seed or this plant or whatever to take root into it. It literally takes root into the ground and it grows roots, just like the placenta. And like a parasite, it sucks all the nutrients and life out of the ground, what we call Mother Earth. But there comes a point in time when the seed will bear fruit. The plant itself starts to bear fruit. And at the extension of the plant now, which is the extension of the seed, the fruit is, and I saw it today twice, where you just see the fruit just fall from the tree. The tree just drops the fruit, boop, and the fruit hits the ground, blah, right? It just expels it, right? Just like how a pregnant mother at the end of their pregnancy will expel the child from it. So that's how you get fruit. And that's how people benefit with a newborn baby into the world. It's a very painful experience, but nonetheless. Now, the separation of a child from its parent. This is the first separation. Okay? Parent has physically borne that child for 9 months, suffered, had all kinds of things happen. And eventually that child is separated from its parent. okay, through nature. Similarly, like a tree will shed its fruit, and the fruit will fall from the tree. Right? Now, the interesting thing about that is you sow and you reap. The reaping is the benefit of the parents, both the mother and the father. They reap a child. The child is considered a love child. The child came as a result of love. Okay? Well, we say that. That's how it should be. That's the ideal situation. And in a similar respect, the fruit of a tree, if it tastes sweet and it tastes well to your mouth, it's because of the result of love. That is, the tree itself pouring itself into the fruit so that it lives. Now, trees also pollinate each other. Okay, some have a male tree, some have female trees, some have male and female parts on the tree. Nonetheless, the point is that the fruit is what we benefit from. The fruit is what we benefit from. And it's a spiritual principle. Okay, so Batman and Catwoman. Now, sex is both enjoyable and pleasurable, as it should be. And, but at the same time, it has a purpose. And all of nature is called to this purpose. It is not just something that is extraneous. It is a nature, it's a natural thing, it's a nature thing to have a drive to want to procreate. Animals do it all the time in the wild. Okay? And so do we humans. But everything, ladies and gentlemen, has a time and a season. There's something called a breeding season for animals. There's something called a season for plants. Everything has a time, a place, and a season. Cornell, Cornell, Cornell Comer, what is in the building? He's saying, wow. Yes, my brother. Nature has order to it. Life has order to it as well. And so there's an order to things. Now, when I say order to things, it's somewhat of a plastic order, but nonetheless, there's an order to everything. Now, I want to make this abundantly clear that once you understand what is the order of things, even if you don't keep that order, you are one step ahead of somebody who is clueless about that. It's clueless about the order of things. It's clueless about nature. All you have to do is look at nature, and nature will tell you the truth. So, nature shows us that there is a season when animals come together to procreate and have sex. Well, for the sexual ones, because there are asexual ones that divide. But in order for the survival of living things and for humanity particularly, even though there is cloning, that is a necessity. All right, so let's move to the thing that humans have done that kind of messes up everything. We humans take things that have function and purpose, and we solely use it as entertainment. And why this is important for people to understand is because I'm still answering the question of why Batman went down. Why does Batman go down on Catwoman or not? It sounds like a flippant thing, but nonetheless, it's something that adults would laugh at. It's like a joke. This, but I'm coming to that. Now, the thing is, it's absolutely okay to be entertained by these things, and they feel good for a reason. Okay. However, however, there's a season for things. There's a time for things. There's a place for things in this world. There's an order. And all you have to do is look at nature and you will see it. That nature itself has order. And it's not an order that's strange to us. It's not an order that's removed from us. It's a natural order. It's something that just comes naturally. So if you as a man or a woman feel attracted to another man or another woman, there's nothing wrong with that. That's natural. It's supposed to happen. And if you feel inclined to want to have sex with somebody as well, that is something that is natural. It's just what it is. Because even animals go through that, right? Plants, they have to pollinate each other. That's how that goes. So, sex is not a bad thing, obviously. But man has corrupted it. We've corrupted it by trying to entertain ourselves. Now, I am not guiltless of that either. I have continuously violated that thing, but I know what is right. I know what is true. I know what's the natural order of things. Because one of the things we all learn as people is it's very easy. It's very easy to go down a pathway that is wrong. But it is very difficult to move back onto a pathway that's right, especially if you're doing the wrong thing for many, many years. It's habit. Some people call it addictions. I like to call it habit. It's hard to undo bad ways and bad habits. It's just what it is. I've been struggling with online pornography for years. I'm talking since I was 15. I'm now 46. 21 years. That's hard to undo just on the stroke of a dime. And I understand that. And people get more and more weird as they exploit sexual entertainment. They try to excite themselves and entertain themselves. And I'm guilty of that as well. So I want you guys to understand something. Sex is great, I'm sure. But there's a place for it and there's a time for it. You see? And you must be able to understand that as an adult. I won't go too much more into this topic. I'll leave this for part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, doesn't mean I keep what I'm just saying. I don't always. I try, but I don't. But the point is, there is a time and place for these things. And we have to look at nature and you will understand it much better. If you don't believe in God, look at nature. It's great. There are different variations of the theme. You know, we have some animals that populate herds and stuff. One animal with herds and there's all kinds of hierarchies and stuff. But at the end of the day, how else are the species or the animals or plants going to continue to exist? They need that. And there is a time when animals actually, there's like a breeding season time when animals actually go into that sort of thing. It has to do with the time of year, I guess, and the weather and all of that stuff. Maybe plentiful to eat. When you have a lot of food to eat, now you can think about procreating. When you don't have nothing to eat, all you're thinking about is eating. You know what I mean? I'm doing it, but it's a very spiritual thing. I'm telling you. I'll tell you why. So, there are certain religious organizations that talk about sowing a seed. But what is sowing a seed? Sowing a seed is spreading a teaching or news or knowledge. It is not only just money, like some of these organizations like to say. All of us have sown seeds into other people's lives. All of us have impregnated other people's lives. The recipient is like Mother Earth or like the woman who will soon be a mother. When you sow a seed into somebody else's life, they will bear fruit from it if it is sown and allowed to bear fruit. And the whole process I just spoke about with trees and fruits and mothers and babies is the same process that happens over and over again. We think about Superman, who impregnated Batman, who impregnated uh, uh, Wonder Woman and Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman. I say impregnated because Superman gave Batman the faith and hopefulness that he lacked and he forgot. And Batman brought the team together to inspire those people so that they would walk with Superman into the sun. Spiritual stuff I'm talking here. The theme goes over and over. This is why sex is a very important but also a very spiritual thing. It is the formation of something that comes from it. Sometimes not. Sometimes just strengthening of a bond. Sometimes it's just two people expressing their love to each other. Cool, cool, cool. Some people just wanted a pure recreational or whatever. But at the end of the day, what it was meant to do was create a new individual or a new fruit. Ultimately, that was what it was really for. To create another generation, to create another a legacy, someone and their children and their children's children. That's what it is. And just like eating a fruit, it's very desirable, it's very enjoyable. And the point behind it was that something's supposed to come out of it. It doesn't always work that way. Some people don't have children at all, and that's just where that goes. But that's what it's for. Now, why I say this is because I think a lot of us today, of the way how the natural way of things work, we have so veered from it, it's not fun. Of course, a lot of people will say, well, there are many different ways to approach something. And I understand that. But from a spiritual perspective, there is a natural order of things. Just because a lot of people are doing it doesn't make it right. Now, with respect to Batman going down on Catwoman, okay, so we know it's canon already. Batman's done. But Batman, what you guys got to understand, and going down on somebody is not necessarily a bad thing either, okay? Even though, again, that's more for entertainment, for pleasure. That's not so much for regeneration or whatever. But anyway, going back to what I was saying. Batman, and this is the point I really wanted to make. Batman is not a perfect individual. People always feel Batman's this perfect guy. He's this hero, so therefore he's a perfect. Heroes are not perfect people. I can know cognitively what is the right thing to do, and that doesn't mean that I do it. I want you guys to understand what I'm saying. And it may not be that it's because I don't want to do it. It may be I really want to do it, but I have a lot of junk still to handle in my life, in my mental capacity, to be able to free myself to do it. You get it? And this is the thing I think a lot of people, we don't have the patience with each other. We're flawed individuals. You guys talk about we're broken, we're broken, we're broken. Yet you expect somebody to change their way. I have good friends who are homosexuals, okay? And probably will never, ever, ever not be a homosexual for the rest of their lives, no matter how hard they try. Does that mean that I should think they're going to hell no, because life doesn't work like that. But it's great to know what is the right thing. I have friends who they sleep around. Like if I'm any better than them. I don't physically go around sleeping around, but that doesn't mean that I'm not carrying out infidelity. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, they know what's the right thing to do, but they're still struggling with figuring out how to get to that point. A lot of people know what the right thing is. Their struggle is to figure out how to get there to do it. A lot of people. A lot of us hide our private business and we don't talk about these issues. It's a very uncomfortable topic for a lot of you guys out there. So I understand, but I'm going to talk about it. So Batman going down on Wonder Woman is understandable. Cornell Comer says, we're made in God's image. Brother, you are so correct. Thank God for that. It's not a big deal that Batman goes down on Wonder Woman because Batman has so many issues. He's a loner. He's by himself. Though he's a millionaire and everything, he's so detached from the world. So to meet a person who is villainous, Batman has had a sort of attraction to Catwoman for the longest while, as we know from the comics. And Catwoman is a shady character. She's a means to an end kind of person. Okay, she may have an admirable end, you know, admirable aspiration, but she doesn't pick sides. She will turn on you in the drop of a dime, right? And she will do some shady stuff, and she will even do illegal stuff, real illegal stuff, like be involved as accomplice for murder and all this stuff. Catwoman is that kind of person. But Batman is attracted to Catwoman. So why? Well, think about this. Somebody dressing up as a bat. Somebody dressed up as a bat, and another one dressed up as a cat. What do you think? You think they got all their marbles together? I don't think so. Okay, so Batman's not all up there. His marbles, he doesn't have all his marbles. He's got mental health issues. Okay, just like a number of people in the world today. Cornel Coma says Batman is rich. They are different. Oh yeah, he's got a hell of a lot of money. But you know, money don't eliminate problems, especially mental health problems. It doesn't eliminate it. It can reduce the propensity in society for violence, crimes, and those kinds of things. But money money's great, but it don't solve all your problems. Okay, especially mental health problems. And no large amount of money in the world can stop this man from remembering the death of his parents and all the people he's lost along the way. And because he had all this money and wealth, he decided to put it to fighting crime because he felt like the world, you know, wasn't just. Certain really wicked, evil people who would really have clout and power, as is in the world today, keep getting away. They just keep getting away with stuff. So he was like, okay, so if the law and the courts can't do it, I'm going to use my way and see what I can do. Okay, so that's Batman, pretty much. But yes, he's a wealthy guy. Catwoman is not wealthy, which is very interesting. But the point I was trying to make is this. I was trying to go to a deeper issue um, and talk about that as an adult, with a child's eye, meaning you're not just looking at me as a big grown man, but you're also looking at me as a child. Uh, because until you master, and I like to talk about ascendancy and mastering things, not to glorify that, but to glorify the attributes and qualities, the pureness, the earnestness, the sincerity of humanism, and by extension, more importantly, divinity, which I think is just a beautiful thing. Divinity is awesome because think about this, and I'm not being a divination kind of guy. When I say divinity, what I mean is there is a purer, higher sense that we all can aspire to as and can be. It's not an easy journey, but we can be better. We really can. So much better than we are. And that's an awesome thing. And so anyway, um, and it's spiritual values. And we're talking about simple, really stupid things like love, peace, patience, kindness, simple stuff that really, in my opinion, makes the world go round. You really want to see somebody feel happy and appreciated? Simply zip this and listen with this to what they have to say. They'll tell you some of the most intimate things in their hearts. And if you just give them an ear, which is really stupid, but you just zip this, have nothing really much to say, but nod, understand, let them know that they're hearing you by letting them hear that you understand what they're saying and where they're going with. People love that. Why? Because it's a heart to heart kind of thing where they're not being judged for their heart. And it's hard for me because I tend to want to interrupt people. And because I'm opinionated, I may tend to want to tell them my opinion of what they're expressing when sometimes people don't want you to interrupt them and tell them how they should live their lives and all that rubbish. They just want to talk. They don't want advice. They just want to talk sometimes. People just want to talk. And it's awesome when you can just listen to somebody and let them talk. Doesn't matter your opinion. We need more of that in this world. We need to hear each other more than speak to each other and try to tell each other what we think they should do with their lives. And I know that sounds kind of radical because, in a sense, it's like sometimes you really need to tell somebody that hey, whoa, Nelly, do you understand that's a stop sign? Sometimes you do. But what I mean is, most of the time, people just need to process their own junk, which means sometimes talking to somebody. That's it. Sometimes people need a moment to sort their own issues out by talking it out. I remember when I was with my ex, she would go to town on me sometimes. She would just go through it, tear into me. But you give her about 5 hours. Don't say nothing back. You just be watching. You're earnest. You're honest. You're listening to her. Some of it don't make no damn sense, but you listen to her. And you know what's the weirdest thing? She would come right back around and apologize and say she was really trying to process something that was bothering her. And it's weird. People find sometimes they need the answer to that. Now, I can't take that kind of stuff. I can't take that anymore. Hence, she's my ex. But the point is that sometimes, at least, people need to process stuff. And sometimes they don't need you to interrupt them. They're going to figure it out themselves. You don't have to say nothing. You know what I mean? And they come back around to it. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I think if we could be just a little bit more thoughtful of people and sort of put ourselves in somebody else's shoe and then sometimes say, you know what, I don't need to be in that person's shoe. Just let them, it look like they just need to vent. Let them just vent and they'll figure it out. Sometimes that's just the way how it got to be. Because sometimes we already know what's the right thing to do. We're big old adults here. We've been in the earth long enough. All of us know when something is bad and harmful. Murdering other people is bad and harmful. We know this. Going on a killing spree is bad and harmful. We know this. All of us know that. There's nothing good about that, right? So we know, most people know what is bad and what is good. We do. But we choose, for whatever reason, sometimes to do something that's bad. Okay? Now, I keep on saying this, and I know there are diverse people that watch this video. And I have some people who I consider very good friends. Some of them will be offended by this video. So that's why I try my best to say things in such a manner that's honest, truthful, straightforward. But I want you to understand, I'm not trying to lay down the law on anybody. I'm not telling you how to live your life. That's something you need to know for yourself. I can't tell you how to live your life. I got my life, and I'm not doing an excellent job leading my own life. So I still got things to work on in my life. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I can't tell you how to live your life. I could give you tips based on what I've done in my life. But again, that's up to you. You're the captain of your own ship. You need to understand that. And Jesus advocates the same thing. Every man got to work out their own salvation. They have to work out their own journey for themselves. Now, because ain't nobody, you ain't leaving the world. you you leaving the world just like how you came in. You're going back to the motherland. You're going to become soil. You're going right back in the ground. You know, it's weird. And that's why I said it's all spiritual to me. But it's a circle, it's a cycle. Right? We come out of the ground, but we go back into the ground. And then we come back out of the ground, and we go back into the ground. And we come out the ground, and we go back into. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all don't follow me. Okay, I'm gonna do it in a kind of crass, but yet in a realistic way. I'm gonna show you this. First man, supposedly, was Adam. Adam, because he's of the earth, he came out the ground. Eve came out of Adam. Adam went inside of Eve, and because when he pulled back out came Esau, the first born human, as the story goes, from Canaan, Jewish Canaan. Now, Esau comes out of Eve, and what does Esau do? Esau goes and marries a wife. He goes into her and out of her. And out of her comes a son. In the meantime, Esau has many other children, and Eve and Adam have many other children. And then Adam and Eve go into the ground. Right? But in the meantime, their children continue to live on. So, like I said, unto dust thou art, unto dust you shall return. But then out of the dust you shall rise back up again, is how the story goes. It's a cycle. You go into the dust and out to the dust. You know, they say ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I had to kill a serpent today, a snake. I didn't want to kill it because I love animals. I don't like to kill animals. But we had to kill this one. Put him down. I said dust to dust, ashes to ashes, and I threw his body into the river, a ravine that's in the back of my house. And someone's going to eat that. I know, because you know that's just the way it goes. Okay. I always say if you gotta kill something, eat it. Don't let good food go to waste. So I put it in the river. I know something will eat it. The thing about it is, I'm saying to you guys is, you know, that you can be flawed. It's okay if you're flawed in this life. In fact, Jesus died for us because we were flawed. So if you're so worried, another thing, a lot of people feel that they're the only person on the planet Earth that goes through this stuff. Like, no, no. Many people going through the same thing you're going through. And sometimes by talking, more people can identify and more people can work it out. Right? But I wanted to talk about that. So, man, he ain't a perfect guy. Okay? He's not. But what makes Batman a hero is that Batman took into his hands, he made a decision to do some things that you and I couldn't do. And we fantasize about doing those things, like apprehending the tycoons, the big dogs out there, the untouchables. Bring some equity and justice to the world. That's why we love Batman. That's why Batman's a lot of people's hero. He ain't a perfect guy. He's flawed in so many ways. But what makes him a hero for us is he do some of the things that we couldn't do. We feel powerless to do. He empowers us to say, hey, man, one guy can make the difference. The Lone Ranger, Robin Hood, Zorro, huh? Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. Some people, Floyd Mayweather. They're heroes because one man seemed to make the difference, change the game, equalize the playing field. Came from what? Sort of straighten out the odds. So people don't have to live in terror. People don't have to be scared. That's what makes him a hero. He's not really a hero. He's an anti-hero, but that's what makes him a hero for people. He's smart. He's a detective. And criminals got to worry about him when they think about doing crimes. He equalized the playing field for the common folk in a corrupt society. That's why people like Batman. There's a lot of dubious things he does, like use excessive force, permanently maim criminals. That's illegal. Terrify and interrogate criminals illegally, break and enter. And I could go on and on and on about all the crazy stuff Batman does. That's just not legal. Okay? No way, no how. But we precariously live through those things because those are the methods that are necessary to deal with people who live above the law. So, Batman going down on Catwoman. Nah. Possible. Because Catwoman precariously lives on the border of law. And the weirdest thing is he'll fight Catwoman almost to the death. It's just a weird relationship with them two. But that's the way how that goes. He's not a perfect person. Heroes don't have to be perfect people. What makes a hero is that they do things that we can't, that we don't get to do, or we don't think we can do, that help other people in a big way. That's what makes them heroes. Yeah, Jesus is a hero. Superman's a hero. Well, Superman holds himself to higher standards, but even Superman, he's got limitations. Not perfect. Wonder Woman, she's got limitations. She's not perfect. So, when we take the modern Greek mythology, Old Greek mythology was Apollos and Zeus and Aragon, Hercules, Hera, 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 also known as an Athena, Artemis, and so on. Right? These were the great Greek gods that the Greeks used to look towards. But really and truly, what they were looking at was strength, persistence, wisdom. You see, and this is what constantly was going through the ages, and it's personification of qualities, which is what the Bible does. Bible personifies qualities. For example, knowledge and wisdom is seen as Sophia, aka Sophie, wisdom. All right? And so whenever you see wisdom, it is characterized by a woman. Damien Anton Vincent, what is up? Damien Anton Vincent, good night, Anson, and the chat. Blessed to you, my brother. Restore the Snyderverse, baby. Stephen Walters says Superman and Wonder Woman would definitely go down on their girlfriends, though. Oh man, y'all, that's some trips. To me, it's funny. Okay. Um, all I'm saying, I understand where you guys come from, by the way. All I'm saying though is whether you go down, you don't go down is really irrelevant to me. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's whatever you do in your room is your business. Okay. But my point is that Warner Brothers went on and say heroes don't do that, and I'm like, dude, come on, man, just give it a break. A hero is not a perfect person necessarily. They could be, but they don't have to be. We've seen villains do heroic things and become heroes, right? In Injustice, Lex Luthor is a hero. He's not a villain. He is very heroic. And it all goes to show you that we as people are capable of change given certain conditions. As grave as a condition can be, all of a sudden our priorities change. And Damien Activism says, I'm good. Heroes eat too. He says low. Oh man, y'all are such a trip. Y'all clown too much. Adults making jokes. Um, my point anyway is, I'm not saying that going down on somebody is bad or good. Okay, that's again, that's your thing. I mean, it's entertainment. I get it. Sex is entertainment. I get it. You enjoy yourself with your partner. You're supposed to do that, right? Fine. But my thing is this: that Cornel Coma says, "What do you think of Wonder Woman 1984?" If I might ask. Uh, I'm going to come to that corner. I just wanted to finish my thought because I'm trying to remember what I was saying. Um, I just wanted to say that yes, heroes don't have to be perfect people, right? It's something that they do which stirs all of us up because we realize that's something that we needed done. All right, so that's just my point. Now, with respect to Wonder Woman 84, what did I think of the movie? Like I said before, the movie actually has a good story in there and really a good moral push, which is that it's not about nothing good comes from shortcuts and lies, right? And a lot of times politicians and other people they lie to us, and even we lie to our own selves sometimes. So Wonder Woman 84 was the story and everything is good. However, I said it before, I'll say it again. The action scenes in that movie, I mean, I don't know what was going on there. Spiritually speaking, the movie had a very good spiritual message. All right, spiritually speaking, very good, solid spiritual message, timely. So I don't knock the movie for that. I just think that the way how they did the actions. You'll hear me say this over and over again. It may sound frivolous and stupid, but oh my God, what on earth was going on there? But Wonder Woman 84 had a great message, very great message. I truly believe it had a powerful, potent message that it was saying. And to this day, I don't change my mind about that. Patty's an excellent director. It's just that I don't know why she hired those people to do the action scenes. You know, the Themyscira part was good. Um, the plane scene, the invisible plane, was nice. Didn't have to make sense to me. I suspended my belief at that point. But just everything else was just weird. It was weird. Just everything. Just because, there's a certain degree of physics that these things need to have. Just, I don't know what was going on with those action scenes. They were just, it threw me for a loop. I was laughing throughout the movie. Where I think it would have had much more profound impact on me. I would just, I'm telling you, every time I think about the movie, it makes me laugh. Oh my goodness. Konakova says, you make me laugh. No, but, no, I mean, listen. I can't help it. Every time I think of that movie, the experience I had in the cinema, I was laughing. And a lot of people around me was like, what is wrong with him? It was just so hilarious. It's like that opening moral scene. I was laughing straight through the whole scene. It was hilarious. Maybe she intended it to be that funny, but oh my god, the action was terrible. Like, um, there was no physics. Like, she threw a guy and he went. He, how can you throw someone? There's something called a hyperbolic curve or a parabola. When you throw somebody, they go up in the air and then they go down, right? This guy went straight. Oh my God. This guy went straight in a straight line. No gravitational pull whatsoever. Straight in a straight line all the way across. And it's not going super fast either. Straight line all the way across, and it hits into I think it was a container of stuff or whatever. And I'm like, what? Oh, I saw Wonder Woman jump like a gazelle. Her foot was all the way up into her back. Her front leg was way up by her hip, and I was like, what the heck is that? I don't know, man. It threw me for a loop. Like, the action scenes just threw me for a loop. I was just laughing straight through them. But the rest, where there was no action involved, it was really good. Yeah, it was really good. Then there was the scene in the desert. She's running and the background is moving at a different speed. I was like, what is going on here? What is going on in this movie? I mean, so I just broke out laughing because it's just hilarious to me. I mean, I was confused. Oh yeah. So let me talk to you guys about. She made love to someone that in her eye looked like Steve. No, I didn't try to process the movie like that. I just went with, let me just go with Steve Trevor. It's confusing as hell. I'm telling you. Oh God. Wonder Woman 84 was an interesting experience. I went with Damien actually. Damien Anton Vince, and I went with him to see the movie, and I'm telling you, man, Damien was fuming. That's the cinema saying, that's a huck of crap. I was just laughing. I couldn't help myself. Oh man. But yeah, it was a bit cheesy as well, but um the moral of the story though, the punchline of the story is a very powerful one. You're still there, Damien? It's still there. David said I was mad as hell. Oh my god. I never took it that serious. Like I was like, you know what? Uh, it is what it is. I did it for Gal. I did it for Gal and Patty. But my goodness, I don't know what happened with those action scenes. Oh my god. I still enjoyed my experience at the cinema. I have to tell you guys. Once I pay money for something, I'm going to enjoy it. Somehow, some way. Oh man, I'm not going back to see it again, but I enjoyed it. You know, and it's kicking ass when it comes to home box office. It's doing its thing still. Kids will definitely like. David Activist says hot garbage. Oh my god, you guys are terrible. Oh man, I know some people are horribly disappointed because Wonder Woman, the first one was good. The first one was really, really good, well executed and everything. The second one, the premise of it was really good, but and the story, the story. I'll say this again: the story was good. It was a good story. Had a lot of plot holes. Didn't make a whole lot of sense sometimes, but it had a good moral bearing. I think movies with moral fabric, I'm always for them. I'm always for them. And if it's I feel like she made it for kids. Like really, it's like she really made it for kids because it didn't make no damn sense. It wasn't trying to be logical. It wasn't trying to be, necessarily, airtight and like Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie. No, it wasn't trying to be like that at all. Because some of that stuff just it just didn't make no sense to me. But the moral fabric of it was very important to me. Damian Anton Vincent says Jeff John is a blight. That guy that guy can't make movies. He just can't. His thing is comic books. Just stay with your comic books, man. Supply information to people, but don't like Jeff. In terms of making stories and telling stories, Jeff's not the strongest script writer and that kind of thing. That's not his thing. You know, I think Jeff's great at writing comic books though. That's his thing. That's his sphere. I think all of us kind of agree with that now. I was listening to Sil Abdul recently, and he was talking about that. Now, let me tell you guys about a movie on Netflix you guys should check out, which is The Blood of Zeus, which is basically the cover photo that I have for this stream. Great stuff. And like I said, heroes, come in different forms. And, The Blood of Zeus, I think you guys should check it out before I spoil it for you guys. But I'll suggest this. I'll tell you this. Hiran is one of the major protagonists of this story. And it is a sort of a mythos of how there are different versions of mythos of how, the gods and Zeus and they. And this is sort of like a Twilight of the Gods kind of like, but not really. So basically, the gods of Olympus were fighting against the Titans. So that's how it kind of begins, and that's the backstory of it. And it's really good. I really suggest you guys check it out, animated on Netflix. Well, my Netflix subscription is basically awesome. Is basically done. Damien Activision says it is awesome. Oh, you saw it? Great, great. You saw it. Great, great. So I've also watched the first season of Tracy, Tracy, Alexandria Tracy. That was also interesting. Tracy is sort of a cultic spiritualism in the Philippines. It's partially directed by um, Jay Oliver. You guys should really check it out on Netflix. Tracy, really good. Um, it's spiritism. It's kind of like like in Trinidad and Tobago, for example, we have Brother Nancy stories and Sukuyan, and you know, um, you know, duends and stuff like that. The folklore. was the folklore of the Philippines, but I mean, it's pretty graphic as well. Like the Blood of Zeus is pretty graphic. But the Blood of Zeus is just filled with drama and tragedy, whereas Trace was more about the lore. But still, Trace is interesting because the story really, again, there's these links and then it's got this again like sort of Shakespearean drama. It kind of goes down in it, but in a modern urban sort of way. So you should check it out. I really like Netflix. I've not discontinued my subscription. They would tell me something because my debit card has changed. I have changed my debit card, so they can't renew my the thing that I have to do. But I really want to kind of unhinge from the subscription for now. I put it on pause because I really was watching Army of the Dead, which so much I have to say about Army of the Dead. But I just wanted to go and just connect the third thing that I said, which was speaking about the blood of Zeus, because I'm kind of all over the place. But Army of the Dead was fantastic as well, and there's a lot I want to say about Army of the Dead that I probably didn't say and then discuss or talk about. It's just really layered. Zach is just so good with giving deeper and deeper stories. Like you look at the surface and it's like, oh yeah, this was an entertaining film, and then you go a little deeper and a little deeper and a little deeper, and you get 100 million different questions, particularly about Vanderhoss. Vanderhoss is really an intriguing character in this movie. Not to say that Tanaka is not interesting either, even though he's very little said about really outlined with him. He's like there for a brief. He's a very interesting character as well. Um, those two characters are very, 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 very interesting, and I can go into a lot of detail about Vanderhoss and about Tanaka, and I'll probably do some pieces on it later on. But just suffice it to say, Netflix really has some really good movies on there. I really enjoyed some of the films and some of the movies I've seen and TV shows I've seen on it. But that's basically what I have for tonight. But I wanted to talk about, the spiritual side of things when it comes to these movies. I think that that's something that me as a Christian, it really gets me invested in these movies. I like to talk about the spiritual side of things. And no matter what story or what context, I can take a horror movie and look at the spiritual side of things. I'm not into horror though. That's not my thing. But it's important to understand and to get that when we talk about life or we talk about these movies or we talk about um, you know depression and we talk about this COVID environment, that you guys get where Zach was coming from with these stuff. That's why the qualities are more important than just deifying an individual. I always feel like hero worship was never Zach's thing. That's not his thing. This is why he deconstructed heroes. I think Zach always is trying to share, and I think his Christian scientist background, even though Christian scientists, I did some homework on them, they're not necessarily basically Christian scientists, Jehovah Witness, Seven Day Adventists, of which I'm from a Seven Day Adventist background, Methodists. They all kind of come under the same clump of people, and some people form these rules about different things, which kind of is what they kind of broke up into these little sects or whatever, and then those rules don't really capture everything that's true, but they have it in their repertoire. But nonetheless, that came from that background. And I remember his father talking about and praising him for being proud of his son because his son was espousing certain Christian values. I think it was. He didn't say Christian values, but he loves his genuine love for people and that kind of thing. And I really appreciate that about Zack Snyder, that he doesn't necessarily focus on visible things, but on invisible stuff, and he's able to sort of get the characters to embody those things, and all of his spectrum of stuff. Zach, and there's another thing I like about Zach. Zach is actually he kind of is. he kind of he kind of wears his heart on his sleeve almost. He really takes risks, tremendous risks, to put himself out there, kind of like because when you think about it, whether it's Man of Steel, whether it's Batman v Superman, whether it is Justice League, whether it's Watchmen or Sucker Punch or Owls of Gahul, it's Zack putting himself out there. It's not. It's not. There are directors who direct from a sort of a third person point of view. It's Zack's opinion. He's an opinionated director. He does it things from his view lens. He puts himself out there. So the qualities and attributes that you see in his movies is things that he's literally emphasizing on so that people will get it. And I believe all the mythos, whether you believe it's a mythos or not, all the mythos out there, what gives them weight, what gives them the power and strength, is the spiritual values that they embody, is the spiritual story that they're telling, that we all identify with. What I mean, courage, valor, love, hope, justice, fairness, yeah, care for the environment, care for other people, kindness. These are the things that really ultimately we decided to embody it with some sort of figurehead, and they change over time. But when you think about it, that's what these so-called hero things are about. Yeah. So the story of Robin Hood, the mythos of Robin Hood, the mythos of Zorro, the mythos of of, of, of the modern comic book hero comes from these places, and that's what Zach is able to ISO. That's what he's able to show why Superman is so relevant today. Superman's like the modern day Zeus or Moses or Jesus. Yeah, human beings still need to attach these qualities to this day: love, careness, concern for others, concern for the pack, concern for each individual. Yeah, that's what makes us human. This is what we celebrate. So I just thought I would uh, wrap it up right there. I want to leave you guys with a piece of scripture. Don't think of me as a hypocrite. I just do it. That's the way I am. And there's a ton of music that's going to come down, you guys. So watch out for that. I'm still doing Us United, by the way. I think that's an aspiration that I care to pursue. I believe in unity and people coming together to do a common good, and we basically did that. That's why the Snyder Cut was restored. Cornell Kuma says, "Cakewalk by Band Lap, free. Check it out." Okay, cool. I'll check that out if it's a download, but I can't do it on this phone. This phone right now, I have to find out if it has an SD card because I have an SD card, but this phone doesn't have an SD card holder, so I can stream, and it's not bad. The streams are not bad. It's okay. This phone is pretty strong. It's dependable. It's called KRIP, meaning it's crypt. It's crypto. It has cryptocurrency. It has a crypto wallet and everything. So I don't know if I'll go into crypto. We'll see. The world's changing so rapidly, like Zack Snyder said, and like Jesus said, you know, as time goes along, things keep on moving quickly. It's a 400.00 DAO. Yeah, I don't have memory space for that. If I can get an SD card for this phone, I'm going tomorrow. If I can get this phone swap, whatever, see if I can get the SD card for I guess SD card so I can put in my 128 gigabyte SD card in there, and then I can download whatever. I can put whatever on it. Yeah, I wish I had a phone with two SD cards. I could hold two SD cards, like two 256, gigabyte SD cards on it. So I have like 500 gigs on it. You know what I mean? But they'll get phones like that soon enough. I'm sure. Yeah, my previous phone it got destroyed, so I'm gonna try and get a laptop so that I can actually stream things and put stuff up on screens for you guys. You guys have been really nice though. Thanks for coming through. Your honor, Comel Koner. That's what honor I don't deserve you, man. You're such a great artist. Connor Coburn. If you guys haven't checked him out, check him out on Sound Click or SoundCloud. He's got his music there. This guy is he's so sick. And shout out to Damian Anton Vincent as well as some new people that came into here for a brief moment in time. Um, yeah. Now I haven't been up to speed with everything that's been going on out there. To be honest with you, Stephen Walters, shout out to you, brother. Um, I I haven't been up to date with everything that's going on out here, but I did check some of the recent news. Not really into the Flash, but they got different characters up in the Flash, so they're trying to create a buzz around it. You know, it ain't my thing. I'm pretty sure about it, but I saw his logo though. His logo looks sick. So they probably going in with the suit that he was supposed to wear. Initially. Hopefully, they're not doing a sort of like a Tony Stark's Spider-Man nonsense. I just hope not, because Warner Brothers, as Sil was saying, Warner Brothers seem to be wanting to marvelize the universe so that they could, sort of license out some of their characters to Marvel, so they could do crossover stuff. Which I remember saying that before in an innocent way that Disney might want to cross over with DC. So they got Avengers and Justice League kind of thing going on. But me personally, I don't think that's a good idea right now. I think hopefully the Snyderverse continues. If they have a multiverse, I guess they could do that with some of the characters, just flip them across. But at the end of the day, I think that Warner Brothers doesn't know what they're doing with the property. The leadership is still clueless, and I think those executives that are there need to just be kicked out. The ones who are just not profitable. That's just my personal opinion. Maybe you share it, maybe you don't. What I do know is Zack Snyder is the hottest thing on the planet right now as a director. Okay, that's just my personal opinion. Don't have to agree with me. I'm not saying he's the greatest director of all time. I won't go there. There are a lot of great directors. But I will say that he's the hottest thing this year, and he has been making bank. Whoever he's with, he's making bank. Okay, so from a monetary perspective, from a business standpoint, it only makes sense to continue the Snyderverse. I do not think that Warner Brothers is going to survive and stay afloat. They're on life support right now, and they're not going to stay afloat if they don't get Zack Snyder involved. And I hope that I'm not Disney, sorry, Discovery. I hope that Discovery Inc. can do a better job than AT&T did, and really roll with Zach and roll with everything that's out on the plate right now, so that we get the Snyderverse up and pumping, as well as we get uh, the other directors doing that thing. But let the directors do their thing. Just believe in your directors. If they don't produce results, then ask them. But believe in your directors, and I just don't think they understand that. So that there needs to be a different executive mandate, and some of those executives just need to be kicked out. It's just what it is, um, and replaced with better executives. So that's my say on the Snyderverse. I think Toby Emmerich needs to go, and sign off. If clean them out. Walter Amada, I guess he will have to stay for a minute, see how his projects work. But with respect to those other two, they need to go. You know. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what I got for tonight. I said I was going to give you guys a piece of scripture. Let me go give you that. I always think of this scripture right here. It's Philippians 4:32. Those no, it's Ephesians. It's Ephesians. It's Ephesians, probably 4:32. Yes. All right, Ephesians 4:32. And let me read a little bit before that, okay? So put away lying. Speak the truth with your neighbor. For we are members one of another. You can be angry, just don't sin. And don't let the sun go down on your anger. Neither give place to the devil. Because you see, think about this. If you go to sleep angry, you're going to dream angry thoughts, you're going to dream bad things. And that's going to fester and be a part of you in the morning. So you want to really get rid of that anger, wrath, whatever's bothering you before you go to sleep. Because if you die in your sleep, nah, not good. Let him that steals steal no more. Rather, work. Use your hands to do that which is good. So you may have to give him whatever he needs so that he can do that. Don't just tell somebody, you need to go and get a job. No, try to help him. Hey, I'll go with you for moral support. Let's go. Let no corrupt communication proceed out your mouth. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to show you how corrupt communication can be. When you speak negative or evil things into the atmosphere, they can become manifest. I wish I could talk more about spiritual things, but for now, if you speak out of hatred in your heart, that's why hate is not a good thing necessarily. It depends on what you're hating, of course. But if you speak of hate, you say certain things, and they become manifest, it's because you said them. And when you harbor hate and resentment and anger in your heart, you kill yourself. Your health goes down. Anyway, let's keep it moving. You guys know this, right? So when you talk about corrupt communication, we're coming from a place mental corruption, not physical corruption. And here's another thing, the sower and the seed. I'm going there. I'm going to go there. The sower and the seed. Let me explain something. So the sower, he planted seed. He threw seed all over the place. He threw it in stony ground. He threw it on thorny ground, and he threw it on good ground, right? If you throw it on stony ground, okay, but he threw it on a path, I think too. So he threw it on a path, and I think the birds came and ate it up, right? That's like the devil snatching things away. But guess what? That happens to all of us. The first time God calls us, at least those of us who don't really walk according to God's call, and it happens many times. Because God's word comes to us and the devil snatches it away, right? Second time falls on stony ground, which means your heart's too hard. So the stuff goes into the ground, it grows up, and then it gets parched by the sun because it can root and really get liquid out of the ground, right? Your heart's stony. That's us again. It's called different phases of life, different phases of being able to receive something from somebody else. The first time you hear something new, and you being enlightened, it can be stolen from you. Somebody else can take it. The second time, your heart might resist it and say, that's shit. And you may resist it. Stony ground. It is there, but it doesn't take root. And then the third time may be fertile soil, where it's plowed up and everything. And so you're ready to receive it because of the season you're in. And that's all impregnation, right? Impregnating the soil, giving and receiving, seed, get it, bear fruit. Now the plants that come up and bear fruit, that means the fruit fall off the tree. That means people use it, people benefit from it, the works that you do, that is as a result of the seed. See, that's why I tell you it's a spiritual principle. The sex thing that everybody be talking about. Yeah, let me keep it going. So yeah, don't speak evil into existence. Don't be careful what you say, sort of like. I've been reckless with what I say, so I broke this rule many times. You guys been long enough on YouTube to know that. but you aspire towards what I just said. That's the point. Okay. Right. So don't let any corrupt communication proceed out your mouth, but that which is good to the use of building people, you should let come out your mouth so that it may grace onto people who hear you. That is, it benefits people. When you open your mouth to say something, make sure it's something that's nutritive, meaning it's something that can encourage, inspire somebody else in their journey. All right? Here's some more. Let all bitterness, wrath, and anger, and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be kind to one another, tender-hearted. Forgive one another, even as God, because of Jesus, has forgiven you. I always remember Zack Snyder saying, be kind. When, the Snyder Cut movie sometimes is going in on people in the Snyder Cut or attacking other people, Zack Snyder would say, be kind. I remember when people were saying that, what was it? They were saying some negative things about, I guess, it was someone, I can't remember who it was. And Zack Snyder said, that's crossing the line. In other words, the hero is all about positivity. Be positive. Be kind. Don't attack people. Don't destroy people. Build people up. Right? And this is what we aspire to. Like I said, ascendancy. We aspire to something greater, something better. That's what Man of Steel said. I go back to Man of Steel every time. Hope is the potential of every person. Is the potential. Okay, go away. Is the potential of every person to be a force for good. You know. Damian Anton Vincent says, flush the flash. I didn't know you were still there. Damian Anton Vincent says, Zach is the greatest of all time, the GOAT. Cornel Coma says, that's because we are universal beings. There's nothing in you that's not in the universe. That's true. That is absolutely true. I can prove that. You look at the constellations of the stars in the heavens, especially the nebulas and that stuff, and you'll see the same thing in your neural networks. But literally, the universe is in you. You are the universe. In fact, when I'm sorry, when Zack Snyder says all the heavens and hells, devils and gods are in you, in a matter of speaking, that is true. Again, spiritual stuff, right? The physical universe reflects the spiritual universe. We are said we're made in the image and likeness of God, but when we're speaking about that, that's not. You could speak about it in a fleshy way, meaning in a literal way, but you can also speak it in a spiritual way. God has choice. He chooses what he wants to do. And we, like God, have choice. We also have a dominion over almost all the other sentient beings on this planet, as far as we know, in terms of sentient beings. So we sort of have dominion over that, and God has dominion over everything. So we're like gods, like little gods because of that. But we don't consider the least of us, which is the least existing organisms and sentient beings. We don't. And we don't look at the least also beings, period. We just treat the world and the universe as if it's only humans, but they're animals and plants and all kinds of unicellular and multicellular things that exist. And we look at snakes and we look at cockroaches and we say they're pests and we kill them because we've rationalized killing things when we've never given them life. And it's just all of these things that I think about. But anyway, so I'll leave you with that. Be kind, guys. Let's try and be kind with one another. I know it's a hard task and you're going to fail a number of times to be kind to other people because your ego is going to get in the way or you're just going to be who you are and you're going to say, fuck that. But at the end of the day, I do hope and pray that we can be a little kinder to each other. So that's all I got for you guys. I am Christ, I am disciple. And yes, I am sad to say I'm flawed just like all of you. I don't take pride in saying that. It's a shameful thing. But I want to say to you guys, we can be better. We can do better. And we will. As Bruce Wayne said, we have to. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.